Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. As UPSC aspirants, keeping up with current affairs, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Absolutely.
And today, we're tackling a global issue, one with potential impacts reaching all the way to India.
Oh, this is a big one.
It starts with U.S. President Trump and his latest move in global trade. We're talking tariffs.
Right. And this isn't just about the numbers. This is about the strategy behind economic policy, the kind of stuff that can make a UPSC aspirant stand out.
Exactly. We're looking at a recent Financial Post article. It outlines Trump's proposed tariffs on automobiles, semiconductors, and pharmaceuticals.
Big industries.
Huge. And we're going to unpack why this matters for India, how it could affect our economy, international relations, even provide insights for the essay paper.
Definitely relevant across the board.
For sure. So the article highlights a 25% tariff on those imports.
And it could go even higher.
Whoa, that's a big jump. Think about it. If you're an American saving up for a new car or the latest gadget, right, suddenly the price jumps 25%. That's the reality we're looking at.
This is a classic protectionist move trying to shield U.S. industries. But will it work, or will it hurt American consumers? Economists are worried about prices going up, inflation.
Yeah, a potential economic storm brewing. But why should an Indian UPSC aspirant be concerned?
Because what happens in the U.S. affects us. The Indian pharmaceutical industry, for example, is a major exporter to the U.S.
How major are we talking?
In fiscal year 2024, almost a third of the industry's total exports went to the U.S.
A third. That's massive.
It is. And the market has reacted. The Nifty Pharma index dropped 10% after Trump's announcement. Companies like Dr. Reddy's, Sun Pharma, Cipla, they're all feeling it.
So, some serious potential disruption to India's pharma exports.
Yes, but it's nuanced. Some companies are more vulnerable than others. Sun Pharma and Torrent Pharma, for example, have diversified portfolios. They might weather the storm better.
Right, they're not just reliant on the U.S. generics market. But this is about more than just India losing money, right? What about drug prices in the U.S.? Will they go up?
That's the big question. This is a healthcare story as much as an economic one. Tariffs, especially on pharmaceuticals coming from China, could really drive up drug prices for Americans.
Making healthcare even less affordable.
Exactly. It could reignite those debates from the 2024 and 2025 elections about drug pricing, especially since almost half of U.S. adults are already worried about where Trump's policies are headed.
Wow, so this could become a big political issue again.
Absolutely.
And the article also mentioned potential drug shortages.
Right. The Healthcare Distribution Alliance, they represent pharmaceutical distributors. They're worried. They say they can't keep absorbing these rising costs.
And that could lead to
Supply disruptions, maybe even shortages of essential medicines.
So the U.S. is trying to protect its industries, but might end up hurting its own people with higher prices, maybe even shortages.
It's a classic case of unintended consequences. It shows the difficult balance governments face with these protectionist policies. The U.S. might find these tariffs do more harm than good, not just to their economy, but to their people's health.
Definitely a lot of potential fallout. And it's not just pharmaceuticals. The article mentioned the MedTech sector, too.
Right. MedTech relies on these intricate global supply chains for everything, from raw materials to finished products.
So how could tariffs affect them?
They could disrupt those chains, leading to higher costs. It might even stifle innovation in a sector that's crucial for healthcare advancement.
Wow, a potential domino effect across multiple industries.
Yeah.
And speaking of interconnectedness, let's talk about APIs.
APIs?
Yeah, the active pharmaceutical ingredients, the building blocks for so many medications.
Oh, right. And get this, 83% of the top 100 generic medicines in the U.S. rely on foreign APIs.
83%. That's huge.
Mostly from China and India.
Yeah.
So these tariffs could push the U.S. to try and bring API manufacturing back home.
Trying to be more self-sufficient.
Exactly. But it wouldn't be easy. The U.S. would have to deal with higher production costs here, and there are a lot of regulatory hurdles. It wouldn't be a quick fix.
So it's a tough choice. Keep relying on foreign suppliers, potentially subject to these tariffs, or try to bring it all back home, which is costly and complicated.
Yeah.
No easy answers.
Definitely a dilemma. And this whole tariff situation, it could really reshape the global pharmaceutical landscape.
Yeah.
Where will APIs be sourced in the future? How will supply chains adapt? What will India's role be?
Big questions.
Huge. It's a real balancing act for the U.S., trying to protect those industries while making sure people can afford their meds.
It really highlights how complex globalization is. One country makes a decision, and it impacts the whole world.
Absolutely. And for UPSC aspirants, this means going beyond memorizing facts. You need to connect the dots Analyze those impacts, form your own perspective. That's what will make you stand out in the exam.
Couldn't agree more. Now, the article mentioned potential implications for India-U.S. relations.
Right. In recent years, those relations have been getting stronger. But these tariffs, they could create friction. India might see this as unfair. They might retaliate with tariffs of their own.
Oh, wow. Like a trade war.
It's possible. The Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance has already pushed back a little, saying there needs to be more dialogue and collaboration.
So things could get tense between India and the U.S.
Potentially. But remember, both countries want to keep those relations strong. They'll probably try to negotiate, find ways to minimize the damage. It's tricky, protecting your own interests while preserving that partnership.
It's like a high-stakes game of chess. But amidst all the economic and geopolitical talk, we can't forget the ethical side of things.
Of course, this isn't just about numbers, it's about people's lives. Access to essential medicines, especially for vulnerable populations. If drug prices go up, it affects people's health and well-being.
It's a good reminder that economic decisions have human consequences. What might seem like just an economic policy can ripple through society, especially when it's about healthcare.
Exactly. And that's something UPSC aspirants should keep in mind when analyzing international events. Look beyond the immediate economics. Consider the social and ethical aspects.
So we've covered a lot. The potential economic impact, the effects on pharma and medtech, the strain on India-U.S. relations, and the ethical considerations.
It's a lot to take in, but you don't need to be an expert economist or diplomat to get it. Current affairs is about making those connections, thinking critically, forming your own opinions.
And that's what we're here for on the Deep Dive, to give you the knowledge and insights you need to succeed in your UPSC journey.
That's right. So as this situation develops, what should our listeners keep an eye on?
Well, how will the Indian government respond? Will they hit back with tariffs, or will they go the diplomatic route? This could really shape India's foreign policy and economic strategy.
Good point. Another thing to watch is how this affects the global pharmaceutical landscape. Will API manufacturing shift away from China and India?
And of course, the ethical questions. How are policymakers addressing those concerns about drug prices and access to medicines?
These are the key questions that will shape this story. Remember, the world is interconnected. What happens in one place has consequences everywhere.
And as a UPSC aspirant, you need to be able to analyze those consequences. It's about seeing that bigger picture, connecting the dots, and thinking critically.
Exactly. That's what will make you stand out.
So much to think about. But that's what makes following current affairs so fascinating, right?
Definitely. And challenging. It's not always easy to keep up with everything.
That's true, but you don't have to be an expert on everything. What matters is that you're aware of the big issues, you're thinking critically about them, you're forming your own opinions.
Right, and you can always do more research on the things that really grab your attention.
Absolutely. That's how you become a well-rounded individual, which is what the UPSC is looking for, right?
Exactly. They want people who can think for themselves, who can analyze information and draw their own conclusions.
So, to all our UPSC aspirants out there, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep those UPSC dreams alive.
And don't get discouraged if it feels overwhelming sometimes. We're all in this together.
That's right. We're here to support you every step of the way. Oh, and before we forget, be sure to check out the original article in the Financial Post.
We'll put a link in the show notes.
It's always good to go back to the source and get the full picture.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you enjoyed this deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share it with your fellow aspirants.
Yeah, spread the knowledge.
And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. We love hearing from you.
Absolutely. We're always here to help in any way we can.
So until next time, keep diving deep into the news that matters. We'll be back with another episode soon, breaking down complex current events and helping you connect the dots.
See you then.